I'm going to tell you about the bride who almost made me quit being a makeup artist. That's how bad she was. So when I was communicating with this bride, I didn't realize it was actually her cousin. This bride didn't speak any English, so her cousin was doing all the bookings with her. And when she showed up, it was her and her cousin, which obviously, no problem, not a big deal. However, at this point in my career, I was working out of my kitchen table and I was booking 1 hour appointments for anyone who would book me at home. So she had 1 hour. That time frame has worked really well for me. I am very fast, so it worked really well for me. Unless someone shows up late, then there's a problem. Her appointment was booked for 12 o'clock. Now, 15 minutes late, I can usually still make it work, but by 12:30, this girl still hadn't showed up. So I was just assuming she's probably just not gonna come. I did email, I texted, and I never heard anything back. So I kind of went and sat on the couch, put my feet up, and I was just like, okay, no big deal. It's really not the end of the world, whatever. And I had a client booked right after that. So at 1 o'clock, and I said, I'll just wait until she shows up. Well, at 1:45, this car pulls up and I'm assuming that it's my next client. But no, the music was blasting. There was all kinds of people in the car. And I was like, oh my God, I think this is the bride that was supposed to be here at 12 o'clock. But I had someone else coming at 1, so there was absolutely no way that I could get her done in the time frame. She would have to wait until I was done my other client and just come back, basically. So I get to the front door and there's no sense of urgency. They're kind of strolling up to the door like it's not a big deal that they're late. And like I said, I have another client and the world does not revolve around you. So I was pretty stressed though, and I am kind of a pushover. So I was like, oh gosh. So I get to the door and I'm like, I'm sorry guys, I can't take you right now. You're 45 minutes late. You're gonna have to wait until I'm done with my other client. So these girls were a little bit more, let's say, on the aggressive side. They literally pushed me out of the way and they were like, nope, her ceremony's at 3:30 and she needs to get this done right now. And I was like, yes, but I have another client coming. And they were like, basically, I don't care. We're coming in. And they just pushed past me. They were coming in whether I liked it or not. I have never in my life ran into a situation like this. So I didn't know what to do. I was literally like, they were not taking no for an answer, and it was their wedding day and my next client was just a bridal trial. So I was like, okay, let me send her a message. And they just came in and made themselves right at home at my kitchen table. So I emailed my other client and I'm assuming that she wasn't gonna see it because it was pretty much her appointment time, but I was just letting her know what was going on. And she obviously didn't see that because it was basically her appointment time. So I just assumed that I was going to be getting a knock on my door in a couple of minutes. So she sits down and I'm praying that she's just going to want a really natural kind of simple look and I'll be able to bang this out, do it in 20 minutes, no big deal. Well, she sits down and again, there's no sense of urgency. They don't feel guilty that they were late. They weren't apologetic, nothing. They were just like, we need to get this done. So she sits down and she pulls out contact lenses and she's like, you need to put these in for me. I don't know how. Do I look like an optometrist? Like, I don't wear contacts. I don't know how to put them in. I don't know what was happening, why she expected me to be able to put in contacts, but they were like, no, you have to put them in. So I literally went, washed my hands. I mean, this is an extra step. When they're already late, I was like, oh my God, and I don't even know how to do it. So this is gonna take me forever. I went, I washed my hands and I was like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna have to try and do this. They were bullying me. Like, there was no taking no for an answer. It was happening, whether I liked it or not. So I just was like, okay, I'll put in these contact lenses, I guess. So I tried a couple of times and finally got them in. It wasn't as hard as I thought, but I literally had like my hands in her eyeball. It was really, really weird. So then she's like, wants this huge, glamorous look. I do it. I probably did it in about 30 minutes. By the way, at this time, my other client had showed up And she knocks on the door, and I was like, just a minute, guys, my other client's here. And I said to her, I was like, can you check your email? This client I had never met, but I could just tell she was really easygoing. So I was like, can you check your email? I'm just gonna be a few minutes. So she comes in and she sits in my living room. So I've got all these people in my living room. My living room is basically now a waiting room. And she's like, yeah, no problem, I'll sit and wait. She was doing engagement photos, which I didn't know. And so she was in a little bit of a rush, not too bad. She was able to wait. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna be much longer. So after I was all done, I handed her the mirror, expecting her to be like, yeah, it's perfect, let's go. Like, I'm getting married in literally an hour. She looked amazing. She was so pretty, but she looked amazing. And she was like, oh, I need this changed. What about this? Can I have this? And like her cousin was standing back analyzing the makeup. I'm like, girls, it looks amazing. Get out of here. Like, my other client was sitting there and they had the audacity to be picking apart my makeup application. It's like, I'm stressed. It looked flawless. Like, there was nothing that was wrong. I hate being late. So the fact that my other client was sitting there and I wasn't ready was stressing me out. I'm like, get out of my house. Like, you're done. You've had your time. You look amazing. She looked amazing, but you gotta go. But I couldn't say this to the girls because they were aggressive. So I wanted to make sure that, I don't know, I feel like they could have beat me up. I was really scared. So they're picking everything apart. Can you change this? Oh, I want more under here. I don't want as much here. I swear I spent an extra 20 minutes fixing their makeup, her makeup. They just weren't happy with anything. And even when she was leaving, she was still like, oh, can you, like, looking in the mirror as she was leaving, picking herself apart. I'm like, bro, go. And I was like, yep. I was like, yeah, no, you look great. You look great. Like, pushing them out the door, basically, because this other girl had to get to her engagement photos, and you gotta go. You gotta go. It blows my mind that people can be like that, because I'm always worried about how other people feel, and I literally put myself last. So the fact that they can just walk in, no big deal, not let me know that they're going to be late, like, I just don't know how people live like that. And they honestly just weren't nice. Like, they weren't being nice to me. I felt like I was being bullied. I literally wanted to cry after. When they left, I mean, you know when you're just literally too stunned, like, you're too stunned to speak. You don't know how to react in the situation because you honestly never thought it would happen to you. That's how they were being. Like, that's how I felt. I felt so out of control. Now, here's the thing, is I learned a lot from that situation. I learned that I shouldn't be such a pushover. I needed to be like, actually, you need to wait. There's nothing else I can do. But like I said, they did kind of like push me down at the door, so it was tough. But in hindsight, I should have been more, when someone's being aggressive with you, you need to be like even more over the top. So I should have done that. That night, I couldn't even sleep. I was just sick over the whole situation. But hopefully, if that does happen to me again, I can be a little bit more aggressive back and take a little bit more control, because I'm a pushover.